I'll read. Right. Hopefully got a good video for you today. It's all about the Nathan's Nags, which is a new service which has just hit the Discord group. Hopefully a lot of you will have seen it, and I think quite a few of you are doing it. So I just thought I'd jump on and do a video about it. If you're new and you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go on the Discord server group, there's a channel called Nathan's Nags, and I will put links to an invite and descriptions for anything I'm talking about in the comments. So there's quite a bit to cover. Hopefully A, it's not going to be too long, but it probably will be. And B, if you don't see this video, then everything's gone tits up. I'm actually running it on a VPS, the whole thing on a VPS. I'm actually using a Chromebook, but this is my VPS Windows machine you're looking at here now, and I'm using a mobile data network in the middle of rural Northumberland, so who knows how it's going to go. Like I say, if this video doesn't come out, then it's gone wrong. We'll give it a go anyway. So what I wanted to show you is the bets. There's been a bit of confusion initially about the actual strategy itself. So the one I'm using, if you can see there, it says import. It's actually imported tips. You can see that on the tooltip there. And this is the one whereby you import the CSV file each day. And what that needs is in the staking section, it needs this rule here: bet only on imported tips and selections from following providers, Nathan Lay system. Okay, so you need that one in there. Take it out if you're using the my selection, and if it's my selection, you should have a rule in here. You don't want it in both. You don't want both in. You just want one or the other, depending on what you're doing. I think we've caused a bit of confusion by changing it. I did kindly ask Nathan if you could provide a CSV file, because it would be easier just to import them, because otherwise you have to go into the events screen and go down the whole list. And I think you actually, in the CSV file yesterday, there was actually 100 tips. You'd have to manually go down and tick 100 horses, which to me is long-winded, especially when my VPS was running so slow. It's running quite a bit faster now because I've cleared out all the historical data out of BFBM, and it's running a lot faster. So that's that. With regards to recovery, there's been discussions about that as well. I did put a table on the Discord group. I would recommend having a look at that to see what your liability is likely to be on 3, 4, or 5 consecutive losses. Now, I know Nathan has quoted in the past, at least I think he has, that he's only ever seen 2 consecutive losses and no more, which is fair enough, but 3 will happen. I can guarantee it. It will happen. It'll be unlikely, but it will happen at some point. It might be tomorrow, it might be today, it might be next week, it might be in a month's time, it might be 3 years' time, but it will happen. So you have to have the bankroll ready for it if it does. And you also need to sort of look at this recovery section here. So it's trying to recover 100%, and it's trying to do it on a maximum liability of £20, so it'll only ever risk £20 at a time, which is fair enough. But when you get into, say, 2 consecutive losing losses, the third, you're probably looking at something with £1 bets, you're probably looking at 68-ish quid. Again, go back and have a look at the table I put on. It's not going to recover £68 in one bet because it's got this £20 maximum. You'd either have to up this maximum to go higher than your £68. So if you up that to £70 where you're risking a maximum of £70 liability, then it would place the bet. And if it can't, what it does, it'll split it out over multiple bets. So to get £68 back, it would probably have to do like 3 or 4 bets at a maximum liability of £20. Obviously, the table I put on was worst case scenario, and I think Nathan said the average bets are about somewhere between 5 and 6, but we can have a look at that in a second because I'm going to export the data. So, moving on, I'm going to go on to the history screen, because in this bet, you can see I've got a profit of £58 on the system so far. That's only from the second day, because the first day I was only betting 10 pence, and I've done my selections with 10 pence on the first day, and every day since I've done £1 stakes. You can see £1 stakes here for yesterday. This is just yesterday's bets in here, unfortunately though, because I had to restart my VPS because there was an update. I think there's still another update, which is mental. Windows gets on me wick. You do an update and then there's either a one to follow on straight away because it hasn't done a full update, or there's one released the next day to fix problems from the day before, something like that. Unless it's just this VPS server. But anyway, I had to update Windows, so I had to restart BFBM, obviously. One of the first things I do as well, just a little tip, when I start BFBM, if it's ever been closed down, which I don't close it down often, is I always click on this bet placed column to actually reverse the order of the bets. It just means the latest bet, the most recent bet, is at the top, and you can see matched bets and everything at the top. You don't have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of your list, because when you get a lot of bets in here, you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to see your latest one. So I always reverse the order of the bets being placed. I don't know if that's a setting option, but I wish it would be that way in the first place. It would save me doing it. Anyhow, moving on. If we go to the history column here, you can see I've filtered out by just the Nathan strategies, which are the layer system members and the layer system members imported tips. Now this first one here, you can see it's up here at the top. Oh no, it's not. Oh, it is at the top. I'm just at the bottom of the list. I've already filtered this out. You can see there, that's when I was betting 10 pence. That was when the stake was 10 pence on the first day, and there was 10 bets placed. And they're all the 27th. Then you can see it changes slightly on the 28th onwards. I changed the stake to £1, changed the strategy to the import tips one, and you've obviously got the tipster name in there as well. And then that's the 28th onwards. Okay. Now obviously there's a gap between the 28th and the 2nd because there wasn't any tips put out. Nathan was busy. Fair dues. I'd like to give a good shout out to Nathan as well, because it's give us something extra to look at on the channel. That was the whole idea behind the channel, getting people to help each other, and he stepped up to the plate and offered these tips to us so we can actually get on them, discuss them, and who knows, it might well, it has already provoked a lot of discussion about the recovery strategy, the staking plans, etc., etc. And I'm just going to take that to the next level today to show you different staking plans later in the video. So I'd stay tuned for the second half, because that's what I'm about to do now. So all I do to filter those then is if you just highlight these columns, you'll see a little funnel there in the top right, a little faffy funnel. You have to be really precise to click it, but when you click it, right, these are all the strategy system, but I've only got the two at the bottom here ticked. You can see if I take off, say, this one, that just shows me the 10 bets at 10 pence for the 27th. If I click this one on, it adds all those strategies. So all I've got to filter here for is the two Nathan strategies, which is, like I say, at the bottom here. So the strategy is in that one or that one. Okay, so now what you can do with that is, once you've got those, you can click on export bets. Now I'm just going to overwrite this one because I've already exported it earlier, and I'm just going to save, and I'm just going to replace it. That's exported those bets. You can see there's 83 bets and 72 out of the 83 have won, which is a strike rate of 86.75%. Nice one, Nathan. If you can let us know, is that your average over the whole time you've been doing it, or if it's slightly higher or slightly lower, because it might make a little bit of a difference on the next section I'm going to come on to. Just want to know, mate, if that's like if that's like these 83 bets, is that like higher than what you've experienced? Because I know you've been doing it a little bit longer than since you put it up onto my Discord server, or is your percentage over the whole time higher than that, or lower? Is this set of results representative of your whole experience with it, or is it slightly higher or slightly lower? It would be good to know that information if you don't mind. Anyway, I've exported those now, so if I go into File Explorer here, I'm going to load it up into Excel by just double clicking on it. The reason I'm going to do that is because the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm not really bothered about a new look, thanks. I had Excel open about 2 minutes ago and it didn't come up with that. What I'm going to show you now is I'm going to load this into a piece of software to look at different staking plans. And what I need to do for that is I need to put in a new column because the software relies on a new column. So just bear with me while I do that. What I'm going to call it here, and you'll need to do this if you want to use this software as well, so I recommend sort of paying a little bit of attention. I'm going to put a result in. The software relies on a result to say whether you've won or lost. Now you can use a W or an L to signify won or lost. So you can use a 1 or a 0, 1 being a win and 0 being a loss. I'm going to just use W and L's. But this is the data straight out of Betfair Bot Manager. Now, under normal circumstances, you would say, all right, here I've won 10 pence, here I've lost 39 pence. So that's a win, that's a win, that's a loss. That's fine if it's a back bet, but because this is a lay bet, it's actually the software's looking for the result. Software we're going to use. And the result in this case is that horse, rhythmic, whatever, lost. So we need an L in here. So basically what we're saying here is if that's over 0, we need an L. If it's under 0, we need a W. Because we need a W next to this minus 39 pence. It sounds backwards, but that's because it's a lay bet and it is backward. Marembo actually won that race, so we need a W in there, even though we lost 39 pence. Marembo won the event, so it's kind of the event result, not whether we won or lost money, if that makes sense. There's one thing I need to check first, and it's this one, this Jet Smart one down here. It's the only one on the list. It's showing match status, so it's not settled. And there's 0 in there. Well, that's neither a win or a loss. And I don't know if that horse won or not, but either way, I don't know whether it won or not because this line doesn't tell me that. I don't know if anybody can put in the comments if they know what happened with this Jet Smart. Is it just my system, or did everybody else get a pound? I mean, I got a pound bet on that, and I don't even know what happened to it. It just says matched, and there's no profit. Maybe it was a non-runner. But then again, wouldn't have put the bet on, or maybe, I don't know, did it get pulled at the last minute? I don't know what happened there. Anyhow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it because I don't want to see it. So I'm just going to right click it, and it shouldn't skew the results too much because it's not a winner or a loser, and I don't know whether that won or lost anyway, and I'm not going to go and find out to see what happened because I can't be bothered. I haven't got time while I'm doing the video. So in here we need a function called if, and then we say if the profit and loss is greater than 0, which it is in this line, then we want a loss there because we know the horse lost. Otherwise, we want to win. So I'm just going to press return on that, and you can see it's put an L in there because that horse lost. We know it lost because we won some money. That's the easiest way to put it. We know that horse lost, so we put an L in there because we won 10 pence, and we're laying that horse did not win. And it didn't. So there's a function there if you want to copy that. I'm sorry if I'm teaching me granny how to suck eggs, because there will be people watching this who know how to use Excel, but I just thought it might be useful for beginners who don't. So that's the function there that we use, and what we can do is, if you see that little dot thing there on the bottom right of that cell, the little dot, if I hover over that, I should get a different kind of cross here, little, you see, so a black cross like that. Now if I double click, it'll copy the cell formula all the way down. So just double click there and you can see how it's copied it all the way down. And what you can also see is how it's put a W next to where we've lost money. And again, just get your head around it and just look at the selection. So a horse called Marembo won that race, so we put a W in there. And because it won the race, because the lay bet, we lost 39 pence. That's what the software needs. And it needs to be the other way around. If these were all back bets, then 2 L's need to be a W, and that W needs to be an L, because they're traditional back bets, we actually won money, so the bet won, so the result won. Hopefully that makes sense. Just seems a little bit backward to start with, but it does make sense if you think of it as the horse and not the profit. So you can go all the way down to the bottom here, and you can see where we've got W's next to the negatives, so that's worked fine. So all I'm going to do here is save that now, and just overwrite the CSV file. Now I'm going to come out, because that's all we need to do. And you'll need to do that for any file you're exporting from BFBM that you're going to put into this software. So now I'm going to go into the software. Hopefully you're going to like it. It's been mentioned before on the Discord server, so you should all, well, maybe some people know about it, maybe some people don't. I think some people are actually using it. But it's called the staking machine. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. It goes through it has loads of different staking plans already pre-built in. There's a Windows version and there's a web version. I signed up for the web version. You can actually use it in demo as well. Evaluation demo version, whereby you can put only 10 bets in at a time and you can't load or save them. I'm not sure if that's true for the Windows version, because it just mentions load and save there in the web version. I signed up to the web version a while back, but I've not really used it. But I thought it would be ideal. Nathan's Nags system we're using, just to give us an idea of whether there's any other, where we can actually make more profit than what we actually are, or make it safer, because I'm concerned about people saying, "No, it's great, it's working," and then if we get 3 losses in a row, people might not have the same opinion. Just trying to get the knowledge out there that it is high risk, the 100% recovery. If you look at the post I put on the Discord server about the systems you shouldn't use, Martingale's one of them, and that's basically 100% recovery. You're doubling up your bet the next time to try and get your losses back. That's if it's a roulette. If it's evens, you're doing that. We're doing more or less the same. We're increasing our stake to try and get our losses back. So this software is going to have a little look at that. I'm not sure if the load and save is restricted on here, but anyhow, I signed up for the web version. There is a few restrictions on the web version. You can only load 4,000 bets, which I only found out after I signed up, but 4,000 is still quite a good sample size. I suppose the Windows software, and I haven't used it, if anybody does and can comment, I suppose that'll be a lot faster than the web version, because obviously the web version you're working remote. I'm going to go on purchase here just to show you the price, and I think it's absolutely bargain, absolute steal. I'll also put a link in the description if you want to sign up for the software. I will make a little bit commission out of it if you use my link, but it would be much appreciated to support the channel and bring you more of these systems, because I'm paying for a lot of things at the minute now, trying to find out whether things work or not, and obviously if they don't work I can tell you. However, you can see here the Windows version's $39.99, which is a bargain, and that includes a year of updates. I'm not sure how often it gets updated. I actually opted for this one down here, which is the web version. I paid £40 for the year, which is absolute steal, I think, for what it does. And I can use it on like Mac, I can use it on my Chromebook, I can use it on Windows PC, I can use it on like a PC that isn't mine, things like that, because I don't need to install it. It's each their own, really. I've gone for this one for a year anyway. I might change my mind, go for that one. I've only got one Windows PC, and it's currently out of order because the battery's died and the charger stopped working. The charger should be coming today for that. So then if you look down here, even if you don't sign up to this software, you get all the information about these back staking plans and lay staking plans that the software supports, and also there's a couple of each way staking plans. Now if you click on one, like for example, I'd heard of Myriad, and somebody mentioned it in the Discord the other day, and I'd heard of it, but I've no idea how it works. So if you click on it, it's absolutely incredible, and this is, like I say, free information. So even if you don't sign up with the software, come in and have a look at the staking plan. So here it tells you all about it, blah blah blah, and it gives you a table, like, so it looks like if it's less than 3, if the odds is less than 3.5, you bet 1% your bank, all the way up to odds of 11, you bet 0.4, and then anything greater than 11, you just don't place a bet at all by the looks of it. And then it goes on for some more stuff. It breaks it all down, and then there's more rules, rule 2, rule 3. So it is quite complex, but it breaks it all down to give you an understanding. And then you can set all this. You can set all these parameters in this software as well to have a look to see how profitable you would be if you use different parameters and stuff. I'm not going to go into all these parameters today because the software is just like, you'd sit there for a day. I haven't got time on this video. What I am going to do though is I am going to go into it, if I can remember how. Yeah. So just click on the web version. Because I'm already signed in, it's just gone straight in. Nathan's Bets. Click on that. You can see the data there. Click on open and it'll load into this window here. Now it knows it's comma delimited, and it puts the data in. So we just click on next. Now this is the important part. It's looking for 3 key pieces of information. You can use 2 spare fields, we're not using them. And we're telling it here that it's starting from row 2 because there's a header row at the top here. Now we can see that it's asking for the column that contains the selection information. If we hover over this here, it tells us that's the selection information there, so that's fine. It has got the horse name itself in column 2, but we'll just use column 1 because it's got more information in there. Doesn't really matter for that. What does matter though, we need to tell it which column contains the odds information. So we can see that that's that one, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I type 7 in here, or we can just click on this plus and minus sign to move the blue column indicator along. Can you see how that's moving there at the bottom? So that's column 7 there. If we go too far to 8, that isn't the odds, so we just click on minus to bring it back 1 to column 7. And then we do the same thing with the green column, which is it's asking for which column contains a win and losing string. Now this is one we've just put into Excel because BM doesn't export that. Now that's this column here, which is 3 columns past 7, so it's column 10. Now again, I can type 10 in there. I can just click the plus sign a few times until we get to 10. Oops, gone a bit far. So there, and that's all set up now to import. So just click on next. And we've got the data here. This is what's going to import, and it's saying no errors found. Press finish. So you can see the win, lose, the spare 1 and 2, which we're not using, the odds, the selection, and the bet number. So we just click on finish. Or you can actually append or replace. So we've got nothing in this list at the moment here in the background. So it doesn't matter what we select there. But if you wanted to append to an existing set of data, so you might get some, like if you use the next week's worth of Nathan's picks, you can add them to this list. So you can click on, see if you're doing it all again, just click on finish. And you can see there it's loaded the data in. And before I go through that, one key thing you need to do is change it to your staking, your bet type basically, because it defaults to back. So I just need to click on lay there because back's not going to tell us anything other than the wrong information. So you can see here then, these are the bets here, the 27th of June at the top, the first 10. And what it's doing here is it's each of these, you can see layer levels highlighted. Each of these is your different layer staking plan. So if we were laying level bets, what it's telling me here is if we started with £100 and our default stake was £2 and we were just doing level bets, we would now have £164.30. So we've actually made a profit of £64.30. So to me, you could do this, just looking at that information there, you could do this system on a level lay stake of £2 and your £100 bank would now be £164.30. You would have made £64.30, which is incredible really, because I've only made 58 on what I've been doing with, and the 58 I've made is with a high risk of 2 or 3 losing bets in a row. So this is the kind of thing this is going to tell you. So if I just go through these first bets and show you how it works. So what it's saying here is the first bet, the horse lost, so we won £2 profit, because remember this system we're betting £2 level stake. You can change these, I'll show you how to change them in a minute. But just go with the default parameters at the minute, which is £2 level stake and £100 starting bank. If we bet £2 on the first one, we'd have a profit of £2, so our bank is then worth £102. The second bet, the horse also lost, so we won another £2 profit, so we had £104. The third bet, the horse actually won, so we lost £7.80 because it's a £2 bet and the odds were 4.9. And so you take that £7.80 off the 104, we're now down to £96.20. And it just goes on like that. And you can see going down here how your bank goes up and down. But it ends all the way at the bottom. It'll end on £164.30. So even there, what bet's that? That's bet 22. You can see that by going along here and looking at row 22. It's just bet 22. We were still under £100, so we hadn't won any money after bet 22. So that's one kind of thing you have to look out for. Obviously, there's a big sequence of winning bets here.
and that's what puts the profit up, and that's what you need to rely on for the level staking plan. So you can see how, after a loss it goes down. Obviously after wins it goes up by your £2. If you go all the way down to the bottom, we end on £164.30 after the 82 bets. Down here, if you went bankrupt, it would tell you if you'd lost all your bank, your £100. So if there was a sequence of losing bets and you'd lost your £100, and it would also tell you which bet it had lost at. Then you've got all these statistics. Yeah, you've got the maximum number your winning sequences, 5, and your losing sequences 0. I'm not sure what that is actually. I'll have to look into that. This is what we're looking at though. It tells you here your longest winning sequence is 20 bets, and that was bet 22 to 41. So it did have a really, really good run there. And then your longest losing bet is 1, because we've never seen 2 consecutive bets lose in a row yet. And that's going to be our problem if we're using the 100% recovery. But you've got all these stats here. You can see the strike rate, which is slightly different than Nathan's. So I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I've took that 1 bet out. I don't know. But it's still up in the high 80s. When I say Nathan's, I meant the last strike rate we were looking at in BF Bot Manager, not his personally. So that's what you get there. So then the exciting bit comes is when you just you can click on any of these. And so if I just move to layer liability and look at that. So if we were using layer liability staking plan, we would have £245.06. So there is an argument there. Do we move to that staking plan? If you don't know what layer liability is, it's basically where you set the amount that you're prepared to lose. And I think it's set in here, is it £20? Yeah. So there's our first loss there, and we've lost roughly 20 quid. So basically there, what you do is you say, right, I'm prepared to lose 20 quid on every single race. Bearing in mind that you know that most of them are going to win. So it changes the stake accordingly. So the higher the odds, the lower the stake. So you can see there you've got a 4.3 odds, and you've put £6.6 on, because then that equates to your £20 liability. Down here, where we've won one, where we've got different. I'm looking for a higher one. There's a higher one there. So we've got 7.6 odds horse here, which is getting up to the highest limit of 8. And we only bet £3.3, because that still gives you a £20 liability minus your stake. That multiplied by that minus your stake gives you roughly 20 quid. And sometimes it'll be a penny more, a penny less, or a couple of pence less. There's a 1998 one there that we lost, because it won't always work out exact. So that's what BF Bot Manager does. It would do like if you'd done a layer liability, you'd say 20 quid, and it would just be a little bit above or a little bit below. But you can see how that has totally affected the profit. You can see the profit along here as well. So you can see there you're £205.84 after bet 38. You can see after bet 49 we're £200, and it's just crazy to see those numbers. So after the first winning bet we were £106, then we were £112, then obviously we lost a race, £92, and then we won, lost again, so we're down £82, and I think that's probably as low as we got, because we had those 2 losers. And you can go through all these. I won't go through every single one. I'll leave you to do it yourself. But if you go through them, or maybe I'll do another video. I'm just conscious this video is getting so long, you're going to be totally bored. And people will have switched off. There's the Maria liability. You can see how that out of £100 starting bank is it's pretty level, but it only goes up to 104. And that's based on the results we've had. Obviously, that's not predicting the future of what results will be. What you can do with the software, though, if we go back to this layer liability, because that's the one that probably interests me most, because we're only putting a maximum loss of 20 quid on each bet. What you can do, you can go into the settings of all of these different staking plans and change them. As you can see how this is 20 quid, I'm going to change it to a tenner. So I would expect this just a half, or would it? I don't know, but that's what the software does. So if you go into staking plan settings here for the layer liability one, and I'm expecting to see this at 20 quid, which it is. So you can set your starting bank. Each each staking plan has a different set of parameters that you can change. So obviously for layer liability, it's just the starting bank and the liability. So if I change that to say 10 quid, because I didn't want to risk 20 quid on every single, click on save and it'll automatically update this. So it would still made 172 quid off £100 starting bank and 10 quid liability. So that's actually higher than 50%. It's more than the 50% of the 245 would have made at 20 quid. And the last thing I'm going to show you on this, and I haven't scratched the surface, I might do a follow-up video, is what you can do is you can do data manipulation. And what that does is it allows you to shuffle all these results just randomly. And so it potentially could put some of the more of the winners together, things like that. But if you click on shuffle, it'll shuffle this list like that. And then you can look at it at a different view. So the first loser there, well, first winner, should I say, our losing bet, the first losing bet was about, what's that, 12, 13, 14 bets in. No, 13, sorry, it tells me there. I'm trying to count it. And it tells you on the end, sorry, 14 bets in. I was looking at the wrong row. You can click shuffle again, and it'll shuffle them up again. Crazy. So you can see there that the first bet was a loser, so it goes down to 89 pence. But because of the staking plan here, we always end up with the same profit. But it will show you whether you get bankrupt or not. But you can see that we lost £10 there. So yeah, I mean, you could have made £72.45 profit out of your £100 starting bank if you followed the layer liability without any kind of recovery whatsoever. It's just betting standard. You know, it's just placing even the layer level. Going back to the layer level, shuffle a few of them around. You could have made £64.30, and you're not risking your whole year bank. All you're doing is betting £2 on every single race. You're not doing any of this like recovery. Obviously, it's dependent on your risk views. You could potentially win more with the recovery, but we haven't. I've won £58. I'm £58 up. On £1 bets, obviously. I'd be 116 up if I was placing £2 bets, say, for example. So I would be a little bit more, but the risk is so much higher for those two consecutive losses. All the two consecutive losses is going to do on these first two staking plans is take your graph down a little bit, but then it's going to bounce back with all the winners. You can see where it dips on here, and it dips a little bit here. It's obviously shuffled them, so there's quite a few losers together there because it's up and down quite a bit there at the end. If we go down, we might be able to see that. Yeah, so it's shuffled them, so you've got a lot of losing bets at the bottom, which isn't likely to happen, which is the good thing. You're shuffling them round and making sure it's a safe strategy. It's even when to put most of the winning bets down the bottom there. You can see it's affecting the graph there, but you're still bouncing back because you're getting so many more winners than losers. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I would seriously for 40 quid jump on this software, and that's not just because I might make a few quid if anybody does use my link. Feel free just to go straight to that site and don't use my link if you want. Honestly, it's no major shakes. I just think it's worth using. You can click on this little dust sweeping brush here, and that'll delete all these results out. And you can start again, or you can actually add to this list. So you can export out of Betfair Bot Manager anything from today. But I hope that's give you a quick insight, and I hope it honestly go through these and see which one produces the most profit. They've got different parameters and stuff. That's another one starting with 100, starting banking, but you only come out with a profit of 112 in total. So yeah, just get on it seriously. Hopefully it'll provoke a few more discussions in the forum. Okay, that's it for now. See you later. Gan canny. Did you hear that, Mammy? Me gan canny? What's the matter with you, Grumps?
What do you think?
I don't know. Right, so I'm going to show you how to load the file. So you click on load. Click on load again, CSV file. And then click on load CSV file again, because we haven't told it enough. Anyhow.